Hello everybody, welcome to Formula Velocity's VTC season, and today we are going to be talking over two races in fact, as we're going to go on a qualifying lap for round 6, which is Watkins Glen. Didn't really feel like uploading this one, I just wanted to do a joint video, but going into turn 1, you want to get nicely on the curb, go down to third gear. As you can see, the dreaded internet connection kept popping up, and you'll see why I didn't really want to upload this video in the future, really, when you watch more of the video. As I can tell you what, it's something to do with internet, but we negotiated those high, fast sweeping corners going into. Well, this is a really tricky corner, especially not to invalidate with Forza track limits, but we do it pretty nicely, as at the moment we are second place, and we are up on by 2 tenths, which I believe is enough for pole position. Freak here was looking really quick though, but as we're going to go down through this left-hander, it is downhill, so you have to brake a little bit early in the thing, but we do get a decent run through that corner, but it wasn't really perfect. Going uphill to the left-hander because, right-hander, sorry, because it is uphill. You have to, you can brake a lot later than you think. Try and get a late apex, and then you're powering down to this. Well, it's really down the third sector, but we lost about a tenth compared to our best because we were 2 tenths up. We're only 1 tenth up now. As going to this right-hander, we want to take a little bit of an earlier apex, try and get a good exit from the corner, as we're gonna go through probably one of the most tricky corners of the track. To try and find the right line and the right balance through this corner is quite tricky, but you can see we negotiate that. But look at all the tyres there. I try and find my way through them, but we hit one or two of them. But you can see the last corner is not going to go well for us, as we actually turning way too early, hit the grass, I mean, just could not get on the power as soon as we would like. So we do stay second on the grid for the qualifying here in Watkins Glen. So that wasn't my best performance. It was the second time this entire season that I did not get pole position, and I can say I did get pole position in the next race, which you will watch later. But anyway, for the first race there's only 8 laps, and it is lights out and away we will spin. And you can see Freege has got an amazing start in front of us. I have to cover off both the LS cars, as sadly my teammate wasn't available for this particular round, so I was the only GOAT Tiffy car in. But as you can see here, my fellow Lightspeed colleague LS Apex 66 almost giving me a little nudge at this corner here, but we do sort of stay in front of him, and it wasn't too much drama. But
be careful not to push too much.
I think as time goes on, we do catch up to Freesh actually at the end of really lap 1. It says lap 2, but remember there is a formation lap. I'm just cutting them out now because it's a bit boring. But you can see here we're gaining quite a lot of time through here, and I do believe he might actually make a mistake here. As you can see, he gets clips a little bit of grass on the entry, and halfway through the corner, gonna make him get a pretty bad exit. And at the time, I was thinking, right, he's really quick. I need to get ahead of him. So I go down the inside. He doesn't really seem to defend too much. Not really much he can defend, but I actually go a little bit deep into the corner. He's gonna get a nice switchback going up into turn 2 and 3, but I think I just placed my car in a nice place where he had to back out, and that is into the lead. We must go. But, as you can see here, on the same lap at the end of it, he's already caught back to us, and he's almost practically pushing us. As you can see here, we actually overcook it completely into there, and he's going to try and go around the outside into turn 1, as you can see. He's got such a better exit coming out the last corner, and it's going to be really difficult to defend against someone with that speed. But you can see here, we almost push him off the track, to be honest. Not my finest driver in the world, I do have to say, but you can see here, we go wheel to wheel through this section, but he just has the straight line speed. He's got the better line into that corner, and we do have to sacrifice our position there. However, for the first race, this sort of happened where I was actually keeping up with him, and then it looks like he just went off the track. But you can see he sort of lagged out there, and then going into this next corner, well, that was the last corner I'm pretty sure I saw, because going into this straight here, I about to approach the next corner, but then I get disconnected. So 0 points, and then the back of the grid for the next race. That is not what we want, but it is going to We're going to have to think about that later, that poor race result, as we are fighting for the championship, but we do have a good lead, but it is lights out, and we do get a better launch than the previous champion, Sam Drives, but it's still not particularly great. As you can see here, we're going to go down the inside of the Mercedes of FVEC. So he does well to hang it around the outside, but he does go wide, and I do sense the opportunity, so I go down the inside in these high sweeping corners, try and be as smooth as I can possibly into there, but you can see at the moment Matato is leading, but we're going to cut a little bit of that straight out because it's not too interesting. As you can see, the two LS cars, Apex pushing Unku out there. As you see, Matato's also been left hung out to dry, as that's how you say it. As we're going to try and go around the outside of them for third place, so that wouldn't be too bad for lap 1, but you can see here, Frisch has already got the gap to us, which is quite annoying, 0.6, and we're going to find it really difficult if we want to stay out ahead of him. So at this point, he was battling with Apex quite a lot, so I thought, if I pit now, maybe I can get the undercut on these guys, but sadly, I don't think it quite works. As you can see here, we are going to exit the pit lane, but we do have cold tyres, but on the next lap it is, they pit, we pass Pixels and Matato, Unku stays up, but you can see here that I go really wide in turn 1. That was a bit of a mistake actually from me, I believe, but you can see here, Apex doesn't, we could get the position in him. As you can see here, I go onto the curb and nearly onto the grass just to get past Apex here, and we actually do get ahead, so that was a critical move, but we actually just clip him there, which is really frustrating because it just leaves Frisch to almost wander off ahead of us. You can see here, he's got the speed around us now after that clipping, but he does go really, really deep, and he's going to go onto the grass here, and he rejoins pretty poorly, I do have to say, and he just clips me, and I think he spins, but that was pretty much the whole of the race. Not really much more to say. Like, this is why I didn't really want to post it, but we got a second place and a DNF, which is not great for our championship, but is not irreplaceable. But the pace was okay, but it was probably one of the weakest performances of the season.
I'll be honest, I nearly went then.
Silverstone, race 1. This is a great race. You can see here, I actually forgot to record in qualifying, but I did somehow get pole. But you can see here, Frisch, he's really stepped up the last few races, and considering after, I believe it was Laguna Seca, he did actually pretty well. But then, as soon as Watkins Glen happened, the previous track, he was electrically fast. So I was really worried that I was just going to lose another race to him, as at the moment, at this point, we're tied for the all-time victories, as he's got quite a few victories in previous seasons, so it'd be nice to get the tied record, really, because he's on 6, I'm on 6, and Apex, the owner of the league, is on 7 at the moment, but at the end of this race, things might be different. As you see here, we go down the inside of that corner there, the right-hander. As you can see here, we're going to actually try and go down the inside of that chicane there, but he just turns in. I mean, it was a very late dive bomb, but sometimes it can never work. As you can see here, in the next lap, I got still a good run on him, and I go to try and go around the outside, but it never really works into here. Sort of hangs me out to dry there, but I do have the inside to this next corner, so I'm going to try and think about going around the outside here, as I do, and I try and keep it on the track, but he just sort of pushes me, so I really realistically should have just tried to not even bother about keeping in bounds, but it's not really sporting, I guess. But you can see here, we're going to keep Frisch nice and tightly pinned to the inside, but I should have got the wider line a bit earlier, but you can see here we've still got a good run on him, and he's going to think he's covered it off defensively, but we're going to go down the inside, and I did accelerate there a little bit, and I don't know if that was too clean, but we have made the move work. I mean, from my point of view, it was a bit dirty from me, but I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that move, but you can see here, it is now the penultimate lap, and Frisch is caught back up to me after battling with Fisher a bit. As you can see here, he's going to try and go down the inside here, but we hold around the outside. There was a little bit of contact, but he was never going to make that move really work realistically. But you can see here, we cover off the inside, but we make a bit of a mistake, so he's going to get a very good run going into turn 1, I do believe. But with that incident earlier, I think I just was in the clear. But you can see here, this is the last lap of the first race here in Silverstone, round 7. As we're gonna go down the inside, or well, not going down the inside, just taking the inside line. But you can see here, he gets a really good run. And I'm going to try and hold him back. You can see here, he's really hoping to take victory. But it actually says we get second on the line. But you can clearly see we do take the win. Because you can see on this image here that we are ahead by the time it's the line. But race 2. This is the race where we can win our the championship. Currently, as things were standing then, I was 41 points ahead of my teammate Fish for the championship. And we just needed to really beat him to be champion. And as much as it is a team's goal to win the championship, I wanted to get this done as soon as possible. So you can see here, I wasted no time into trying passing my Australian teammate here. He got a little bit annoyed about me trying to win the drivers, but I'll be solely focused on the constructors next race, and it is understandable, but I was just worried that if I got any more disconnects or poor luck that I could lose this championship, even though I have such a healthy margin. But as you can see here, he's actually got a good run on me, Fish, as he's going to try and go down the inside of this right-hand corner here, but I'm going to try and hold it around the outside. He does push me a little bit wide here, but it was good racing, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. As you can see, Freesh and Fish both go into the pit lane, as you've got both the Lightspeed cars, the official Lightspeed cars in front of us. I am part of the Lightspeed team, but there wasn't really space in their team, so I had to just make Goat TV Esports, which is lovely. But you can see here, Apex makes a horrible mistake, probably on purpose, as we're going to go into the pit lane, and we're going to exit, and you can see them 2 cars there, as I'm going to try and imagine where the pit line exit would be. As you can see here, we do get ahead of our teammate LS Fish, but we do run horrifically wide and cold tyres there. But that is not ideal indeed, as we just keep ahead of him. He gives us a little bit of a nudge, but it's nothing too bad at all. But I do have to say, with this race, I didn't really have the pace against Freesh, and Apex actually was really quick. But we're only on the final lap, and it is looking like we will win this championship, because Fish is like 7 seconds behind us, so that's quite a big margin. But as you can see here, going into turn 1, I think Apex did use quite a lot of the track limits. As you can see here, he actually makes a horrific mistake, but he used quite a lot of the track limits as he had a ridiculously fast lap time. So I think he stopped that when I was in close range to him, so maybe
so fucking loud, Carbon?
That's how I sort of caught up to him. But as you can see here, it is the final lap of the race, and I'm just looking for a good battle to hopefully win my first ever Forza Championship. And it will be to win my first Forza Championship, which is absolutely amazing. But as you can see here, I'm not quite done this season, and I'm going to try and send it down the inside of Apex here to this right-hander. I just don't really quite get the move on. He stays within track limits there just about. As you can see here, he thinks he's got the inside covered, but I'm going to go down the inside. There's a little bit of contact involved there, but nothing too bad. Forza glue doesn't help really, but you can see here I'm just about ahead, but he has the inside to this corner. But as you can see here, I actually get a slightly better run, and I do just on the line by 0.006 seconds get P2, and that is my first Forza World Championship.
Literally 0.006.
But this has been Carbon, and thank you for watching and supporting me.